Wow, this is pretty big. Um, I'm gonna tell you what it's like. Um, I've been with 16 ex-girlfriends. Of course, since I'm about to reach 30 next month, um, I'm gonna tell you my experiences. Half of them were people that I really loved a lot, or uh, wasn't really sure. You know, I know like my first ex. Wasn't I didn't know about I did love her, actually not really, but I did make a mistake cheating on her with somebody else from Connecticut. But I knew she wasn't the one. I knew most of them weren't. Um, I know Giovanna Altuve, who cheated on me twice. Always had feelings for her. I don't know why I would have feelings for somebody who cheats on me, but um, I do want to thank her for giving me the courage to sing. She made me want to practice singing. I love to sing a lot, so I could release whatever emotions I'm going through. I know we've been back and forth with each other. I've been back and forth with half of them. My first ex, Megan Gilles, my third ex, Giovanna Altuve. If we wanted to get back together, we probably would go to hell together. But in the real truth, if I did want to go back with her, I probably would say yes, even though a lot of people would call me an idiot from hell. Um, I know Melissa Becca was somebody I really loved more than anybody, but her mom, it really sucked that we couldn't be together. Um, and then there's, ooh, wow, many to go. Um, I know when it came to my, um uh, I know Christine Negron, who's a cop. I mean, I went from Megan Kieles to who lives in Brooklyn, Daniel Kaminsky from Connecticut, Giovanna Altuve, who gave me the courage to sing and who got me into Ricky Martin, who I still think is a great performer. Uh, Along with Veronica Lane from Huntington, New York, and then I got back together with Giovanna Altuve and back together with Megan Kieles. And I go to my fifth ex, Anna Rhiannon, who's a lot older than me, which was a big mistake. So I try now to focus on the age limit. Uh, and then there was Melissa Becca, somewhere in Queens. When Anna Rhiannon lived in Forest Hills, I know my seventh ex was Sarah Tenenbaum, who I knew for a long time. Used to live in Brooklyn and moved to Flushing. Um, my eighth ex, Sarah Tenenbaum and I were back and forth. We went from friends to being together, friends, back together. That's sort of craziness. Um, and then there's, oh Lord, uh, then there's my eighth ex. I remember Victoria Gordon, who lived in Valley Stream, who I thought could be somebody, but then she's somebody that I don't think we can make it together. I mean, we were back and forth too. And then I waited 4 years till I graduated high school to be with somebody, until I got a job, got my act together. You know, I think like, before you move on in somebody's life, you want to get your act together. You want everything to be straightened out. You want your personal life to be in check. Your professional life from your job. You want to make sure you have a job. You want to make sure you have your own apartment. Or if you live with somebody, you want to make sure you can function well. That's what I think it is when you're in relationships. I think throughout most of my relationships, I think, when somebody cheated on me like twice, I felt like I couldn't function anymore. I felt like women hated me, or I was gonna have to look for signs all the time to find out if they are cheating or not. I know for a fact that sometimes I check my ex-girlfriend Giovanna's videos because I always wanted to thank her, but she kicks me out the door, and she hates me for some reason. You know, she probably hates me because of the way I look, or the way I dress, or maybe she just can't stand the person. And you know, for those women that made me leave, I'm sorry. I want to say I'm sorry to Giovanna right now. I know she may not care, but I hope she gets this video. But this is not really a video to her. This is a video to everybody, so that we should be able to function in relationships. We have to really be happy with ourselves before we can move on in a relationship. I know I love my family. You know, I put my family ahead now. You know, that's what I learned when I got my own apartment. I know my ninth ex, when I graduated high school, Jessica Rush, I really wasn't happy with her. You know, some people I've been with, the longest I ever had a relationship was 5 months, probably because I was always unhappy. I know in high school I was very unhappy, which is why I acted like an idiot. You know, why I would always act so selfish and whatever, and why I annoyed people. You know, because I was very unhappy with myself there. I didn't like where I was. I was unhappy. I know after Anna Rhiannon, I know one of my good friends for so many years, Sam Rappold, and his lovely wife, they hooked me up with somebody who I thought could be the one, but I was unhappy with her too. What also made me unhappy in relationships is because, you know, I have seizures, and I thought women would hate me for having seizures. I thought Giovanna Altuve would hate me for having seizures. I know she went through some stuff, but I don't want to talk about it. But I think it's personal. She's just somebody who I think could do anything in her life, and she has more guts than I will ever have. I know my 11th ex was Norma Gelmes, who I knew from Summit also, and I thought, oh my God, she could have been the one. You know, most of these women, but she was somebody who I was just with for a short time. But I knew I made a mistake. I still make mistakes in relationships. I sometimes feel that I'm with this woman only for comfort or something. But you know, Raina Moran, I really was in love with her. I felt comfortable around her, but then, you know, I knew there were problems. I knew there were signs that she was going to cheat. She was going to cheat on me and say that she couldn't stand me. But she really did love me, but I wasn't in love with her anymore because I saw the signs. I saw that she was cheating, but I also knew I couldn't function at work or at home or around anybody. And that's the sad part of relationships. You know, I know my next ex was Christine Negron, who's a cop. I was really, really in love with that one. I felt more in love with her than I did with anybody. That's the hardest part with her. But she was somebody who, you know, I thought, wow, this could be somebody, you know, even though she's a cop, I was okay with it. I was so in love, but then our schedules were hectic, and I was never able to get in contact. You know, we only got to see each other 3 times in person, which is sadder. And I wish I had more time with her. You know, I know my 15th, you know, my 14th ex, Tiffany, who lived in the city, also, you know, who lived in the city while Norma lived in Brooklyn. Raina lived in, you know, the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and Christine Negron lived in the Bronx, and Tiffany lived by Lexington, which was a perfect ride. I really felt happy with her. I mean, those 2 dates were great. I felt like, you know, taking her on the first date to that's a lot better, I think. feel like, you know, she was somebody that I could, you know, I felt like she was, you know, somebody, but then I never got to hear from her again. I kept, every time I don't hear from these women, I feel like they hate me for a reason. But then I knew later on, you know, there were other people in my life. There was a girl I met on the Steve Wilkos show. She was in the audience, but way too young. And she was 20 years old, and I was 28 at the time. And you know, her name was Grace, who lived in Flushing, which was definitely a good ride. And then there's another girl, you know, but I was on a date with somebody who just moved into Forest Hills, who was a Mormon. Mormon meaning another religion. Um, um, you know. So that's really huge, you know. I thought that girl, but then I didn't like the fact that her brother was a convict. And of course, I'm very picky on women. I'm very picky. I don't like women that smoke or who drink too much or do drugs. I mean, if they drink on special occasions, then I'm good. I mean, Giovanna, you know, she's somebody who probably has a better life than I ever had. But I like the fact that I know at once I was moving on to another relationship, I had to quit my job and get a better job because I love working with children. I feel children are the future in life. Then there's, oh Lord, then there's somebody else. And then this past year or last year, I was with a good-looking Dominican from who lives in Ozone Park. You know, and Angelica Silva. But anyway, um, this video is about moving forward in my life, but also my past relationships. I know that since I'm about to be 30, I'm having a little trouble moving forward because I keep thinking about my past relationships, which is why sometimes I don't know if I want a relationship anymore. And I know the last date I went on was last 2 weeks ago, I think. Somebody was taller than me, almost the same age, but I knew she was in a relationship, but we just met as friends. That's okay. I know that I would love to move forward. I'm going to try my best not to look for signs. You know, I have a hard time trying not to think of the fact that women cheat on me and whatever. But I am going to try my best to move forward and try to avoid the past relationships. But I do have a little hard time sometimes looking at the videos because I really want, you know, to move forward. But what I do want is for them to be happy, for all those women, whether I hate them or not. I want them to be happy in their lives. But anyway, this video is about my past relationships and moving forward. So for those who want to move forward, do your best to try to move forward, to try not to think of your ex-girlfriends, try to be happy in your own home, whether you live with your parents or a family member or roommates, even if it's by yourself, no matter where you live, but also be happy with the job. I think that's the only things that are going to make us happy if we want to move forward in our life. No matter what type of sexuality you are, I have nothing against other sexualities. I respect those people, but I also hope that things work out. All right. Peace, my brothers and sisters.